Hello, Joe, and everyone in the case audience. This is Danielle Atkinson reporting from 2045. I've arrived at night. I've got the settings wrong on the machine, but it's so quiet. It looks like everybody is inside. I just walked past a small bar, and apparently only rebels now go out and drink publicly, if they can afford it. So, being the slightly curious person that I am, I took a peek through a window. Blimey. So basically people just watching an enormous screen, pressing a button to have a drink made by what I think was a robot, but it looked pretty realistic, so I'm not really very sure. Anyway, I've been coming to the future to see what the future of fundraising could look like. So I did something very naughty and I actually called myself. I know Doctor Who would probably disapprove, but hey, I must admit, actually, I'm looking pretty good for 70 years old. I'm not wearing that badly. And actually, I'm lucky enough to have just been able to retire, which is pretty unusual. Most 40-year-olds in 2045 think they're going to be working until they die. So actually, that's probably why I'm looking quite so good. Anyway, what about fundraising 30 years down the line? So myself were having a little chat about what is fundraising 30 years down the line. Well, fundraising is now a dirty word, and we are now called fund catchers, doing what we're told due to a regime of regulation. And regime is the word. So, for example, to start something new, it has to go to the charities ministry first to be agreed. Where a group of people, usually middle-aged men, some things never change apparently, decide if it's allowed. Loads of charities have merged and been taken over. So there are now just a few specific causes. So, for example, save the trees, save the animals, save the sick, save the children. The list goes on. And the government basically had to start another campaign to help make people give to make this happen. As apparently 30 years ago, as we all know, all the rules changed and people couldn't be asked to give money. So this meant that effectively state services had to stop or close down as charities could no longer plug that gap. So the Give Local, Help Global campaign started, and basically people now give to the man down the street who set up his own charity after his wife died, so they know him, they know his story, and then he grants the money to the large charity to spend on services, on research, on the environment. So, for example, and how do people do this? So what is the most popular fundraising activity? So if basically now the most popular fund catching is the National Street Party. So this is a day that everyone comes outside and gets together and actually talks to their neighbours in person. So instead of being in their house, in their flat, family or their friends, just watching a big screen and having anything delivered by technology, they're actually talking to people, interacting with people, engaging with people. And the National Street Party is run by the Charities Ministry, which is now the UK's second biggest employer of fund catchers. And the National Street Party raises £2.5 billion every year. So the National Street Party basically raises quite a lot more money than our 2015 Children in Needs or Red Nose Days. And how does it work? So people are expected to pay £30 to come together and have a National Street Party with their neighbours, with their local community. And basically, if you don't take part, your name is put on a list, and you're at danger of being identified as somebody who is acting against the charities ministry and who is classed as an unsociable. So, yep, that's 2045 and the National Street Party, the nation's biggest fund-catching activity. However, excitingly, there is now a retro phase happening, a little bit of vintage being brought into everybody's lives, and a re-release of Uptown Funk has just hit #1 on the global hit list. And strangely, well, not strangely for us, but strangely for the youngsters of 2045, people are writing letters again. People are putting pen to paper to write personal letters. The most recent blockbusting film delivered via everybody's technology was an homage to the 2015s and how people behaved and what people did in those days. And people actually noticed that they used to use paper and they used to use pens almost as much as they use technology. And this is a craze that is currently sweeping the world. And stationery sales have shot up. Pen factories are back in business. Paper is the new iPhone. So watch this space. And what this means is that shops have started to come back to the country. So instead of just ordering my pens and my paper online, I am now actually going to step outside and get a travelator to a local shop where I will be buying a postcard to send back to my 2015 self. So anyway, I think I'm going to have to go. The battery is just basically about to run out in my time machine. And surprise, surprise, I can't find a charger that fits it. So see you soon. I hope this message reaches you loud and clear from 2045. This is Danielle Atkinson signing out. Over and out. Bye.